Hello.
Hi, folks.
I don't think they can hear us. We have to.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Who's that?
Who's who? Me? I'm Judy.
I'm Donna.
You have to unmute yourself. Kathy.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yes.
hear you.
I don't know how to get my picture up. And I washed my hair. Are you in, Linda?
Hey, Linda.
At the bottom of your screen, on the left, you have music and you have video.
Audio. Wi-Fi or just no audio? I don't know. Wi-Fi, I guess. I'm going to do audio. Okay. Got it. I think I got it.
This is so fun. Uh-oh. Linda, I'm going to hang up from you.
Is it me?
Yeah, we're squeaking. I'll talk to you later, honey. Okay, bye. Linda and I have connected in such an awesome way. I love it. It's so good to see you. Aren't you the sweetest couple?
It's fun. I'm just, I keep admitting people in, so just bear with us for a few minutes before we begin. Wow, I mean, the number of people who are joining, thank you all. Oh, that's the time.
I have a clock for sale if you want it. I hate it.
It's lovely to see your faces.
And to hear your voices.
I agree.
I'd say good morning, everybody, but I think I'm the only one in morning time.
Well, I am here.
Yeah, we're going to have a little introductory session as soon as everybody is here.
So there's 17 people right now. I don't know how many will be joining. We've had about 45 to 50 people saying they were interested, which was huge for us. Oh, here we are, another person asking to join. Do you want to say a few words, Robert, before we begin?
Well, so it's really great. I mean, it's almost 10 years now that this group, we started this group, and against all odds, we're still here. And yeah, we have 5,600 people who over the years have joined.
Oh.
And
That's amazing.
yeah, we did nothing to promote it. We did nothing. We just put it out there, and people would show up, and we'd welcome them. And slowly but surely, it's grown. And only because of you guys and your participation, you make the group, and we're totally grateful for that. And I don't know. I've been in a lot of groups, and I frequent a lot of groups. And the participation, I mean, you can ask a question, and there's somebody in Australia who's awake, and they answer it immediately. It's an amazing group, and we're just so grateful to all of you guys for joining in and participating in the way that you do.
Well, we're grateful to you for managing it.
Oh, well, thank you.
Well, and I have to say, for somebody who's about ready to go, it's just been a wonderful group to be able to participate in.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. So we're still 20 people right now. I mean, what time is it now? Okay, so I think we could still wait just a bit. What's happening here? I don't know what's happening here. Suddenly we only see our 5. Wait, no.
Who said it was morning for them? It's still morning for me.
British Columbia, Canada.
Hey, Judy, how are you? Brent in Vancouver.
Oregon.
Oh, okay, doing what we were going to ask you to do. So Donna, could we start with you, Donna DeLuca?
Oh, okay. I'm Donna DeLuca.
I'm from.
I'm from about 10 miles south of Portland, Oregon, originally from the East Coast. I've done 3 Caminos and getting ready to leave on May 11th for my Lipui to Santiago.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yes.
First
You save the clapping for later. I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
Oh, it's a wonderful journey.
No worries. Joaquin del Sueto.
Del Cueto,
Cueto. Are you from?
Miami, Florida.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm supposed to.
I've done 4 Caminos, looking to do Podiensis around August. And really appreciate all the support because of the language barrier.
Yes. But
You're
don't
not
worry.
kidding.
It's nothing to worry about.
If you already speak Spanish, it won't be all that difficult to learn French.
Yeah.
Well, and I am attempting to. I'm, just hope I have enough comprehension to be able to get by.
Okay. So we'd like to just move on just to do the introductions. So Laurie Fido Cook.
Hello there. We did one Camino together, the Camino Portuguese in 2019. My husband and I, he had come back from doing this Frances. And so we scheduled for 2020, as probably some of the rest of you did, and to go to France. And of course that got canceled. So last fall, we just did it. And we went halfway to Cahors, and we go back on May 23rd with our daughter, who is a school teacher and is 31 years old and has never done a Camino, to go on our 3rd walk, or my husband's 4th, my 3rd. And I'm in love with France. I love every picture you guys put out there. I'm telling you, it's just heavenly. Every conversation. My husband poo-poos it. He says, you said that about Portugal. And I said, I know, but I really, really love France. So anyway,
Laurie, thank you.
can't tell I'm enthusiastic.
We just need.
Pardon?
We'd like to just introduce.
Just go
Yes,
through everyone.
yes, and I live in Oklahoma. That was the
Okay.
other question
Oklahoma.
that you asked. And I live in Alaska in the summer. So.
Okay, fabulous. Judy Dahl.
My turn. My turn.
Hi.
I'm Wanda Mackler, and this is my niece beside me, Dawn. We live in New Hampshire. We leave Easter Sunday.
Oh,
Wow.
great.
We're going to Ireland first and then to Lipui to Santiago. This is my 7th trip.
Wow.
And I'm old.
I know. Tasty too. So Judy
What's
Dahl.
that?
Hi, Judy Dahl.
How old?
Hi. This is interesting. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting trying to manage so many people. You're doing a great job. I am Judy Dahl, and I live in Port Moody, which is in the Vancouver area of British Columbia.
Fabulous.
And I think that's all you wanted to know at the moment.
Thank
Yes,
you.
great. So we have Alison.
Hi, I'm Alison, also from Vancouver, and I know Judy. We walk together sometimes. I've done 3 Caminos so far. This is my 4th. I'm planning to start from Lipui on September the 6th to walk to Saint Jean. Very much looking forward to it. I love this Facebook group. It's one of the most friendly, positive, useful ones that I've seen. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Great. So Catherine Eastman, we can't see you, but you're there audio-wise.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I'm working on a work computer and I think it's confused between my laptop and my desktop, so I don't know how to fix it. But at any rate, I'm from north of Minneapolis in Minnesota. This will be my first Camino. You have no idea how excited I am.
Oh,
Yeah, I think we do.
Yeah, I think you caught that one, huh?
Yeah,
But I'm 61. and healthy. I can do all this. Nothing strange. I'm going to carry my pack. I've been wanting to do this. At lunch in 2018, I met a girlfriend from Pennsylvania and we sat down for lunch. She says, I'm going to be walking the Camino de Santiago. And I said, the Camino de who? And then she explained the Santiago to me and I was like, okay. And I said, I want to go. And she goes, nope, I'm going alone. And I remember at the moment I took that, I didn't understand the going alone thing. I thought my dear friend just told me I couldn't go with her. You know what I'm saying? And so little by little, I have come to love, understand, appreciate. That's Linda bugging me. Linda, hold on a minute. She's on there. But I'm just excited. I'm a foodie. The food matters to me. I'll say years ago, I did a trip from South America to the United States. I was planning to go by boat to Baltimore. And I got sidewinded in Cuba with no money. So I ended up having to fly home. And that trip always felt incomplete. I didn't get to finish. And so I think a lot of this for me, and I'll leave it at that, is truly going beginning to end and completing it. Full of wine.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. You've all been so helpful online on the Facebook page. Kate and Rob, you're my true heroes. I adore you. And I'm going to meet you someday in person. So thank you all so much. I've enjoyed all of our communication. And Douglas, I saw you on here someplace. Douglas and I have interchanged. He's an awesome, neat guy. I'm not sure how to say it, Matherin. So Douglas has been real inspirational for me. Linda Putz has been inspirational for me, and so many of your names I recognize. And so thank you, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Buen Camino to us all.
Yeah, thank you. Then we have Gunnel.
Gunnel is muted.
It's
Yeah.
me, yeah.
Hi, Gunnel.
Yeah. I'm from Sweden, and I've done 2 Caminos, Camino Frances, Camino Portuguese, and my next will be Via Podiensis, I hope, yeah. But right now I have a broken arm, so it has to wait a bit. Yeah, maybe in some month.
Yes.
I hope to be able to do it.
Hi, Brent.
Hi, my name is Brent. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. I did the Podiensis in 2018. I did Camino Frances in 2013. And next year, I'm changing up and riding a bike for about 2,500 kilometers in Europe. Just something different. There's one thing I wanted to mention. All of the admin have been extremely helpful to myself and many of you out there. I'm looking forward to meeting you guys at some point in time in my life. It'd be great. But Rob gave me a piece of insight before I headed out on my journey. At the time, I didn't own a cell phone. And Rob said, go organic. And I said, what do you mean by go organic? He says, no cell phone. I said, no problem, don't have one. He said, don't take any maps. So I had no maps, no communication devices, nothing. I just pitter patter, get at her kind of thing. I was fortunate enough that I speak enough French, I speak enough German, enough Spanish to get by. But it was very enlightening not going without any of these other communication devices and maps and things. For those of you who are about to go, it's very well signed. Every 100, 150 meters, there's an arrow of one kind or another. And those of you who are from areas that are still dealing in imperial measurements, get used to kilometers, kilo, that kind of thing. It's all metric in Europe. Anyhow, thanks, Rob. The organic route was wonderful.
Okay, I'm so glad.
Then we have Douglas. So Douglas, I call you because I'm half French. I call you Douglas Mathurin.
Mathurin.
I say Matron. A little easier for English. It's hard for English-speaking people to say my last name, so I kind of keep it as French as possible without being too difficult. I have to do the same thing in France with my first name. It's Douglas in France because French people can't say Doug. Actually, most people can't say Doug except English speakers. But I've done the Camino Frances all the way across Spain. I've hiked from Le Puy to Condom in France. And I'm still looking to finish the last from Condom to Saint-Jean. I'm also working on a book of the way. And it's more of a history book, but histories, different stories of different sections of the way. Sometimes it's about people, sometimes it's about churches, sometimes it's about the art, but it's the history of what you see along the way. And so I've done a lot of research on all of this. So anybody have any questions, just hit me up.
Thank you, Doug. Where are you from?
Well, my father was in the military, so I've lived all over the world. I live.
Where do you live now?
I'm sorry?
Where are you living now?
I live just outside of Washington, D.C., in a most beautiful town called Frederick, Maryland.
Nice.
So, Linda, you're muted. Linda Putz, you're muted.
Still muted.
We can't hear you. Unmute yourself.
Wait, is Linda Putz on there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
At the bottom of the screen on the left, you have a mute button.
There we go.
Yeah.
That worked. Voila. Okay, there we go. Thank you. So I'm Linda Putz from Bismarck, North Dakota. I have done the Francis 1.5 times. I've done the Portuguese twice. And I was starting it again this last fall in October. Again, the Francis from Pamplona, and fell and broke my kneecap. So that took care of that. So I thank you, everybody who's on this site, because I've learned, it gives me an opportunity to learn so much. This seems to be a harder way to find my way through on this walk compared to the Brierley books that are available throughout all the Francis trails, or Not Having Wise Pilgrim. So I really look for you guys for information. Thank you. And then I got to meet my friend Catherine through this Facebook page also, and she doesn't live that far from me, so that's been great. Thank you.
You're welcome. David Haas, an old-time member. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. I'm David Haas, and I live in Wisconsin, in Appleton, which is in the northeastern part of the state. I did the Via Podiensis in 2014. And I really enjoyed it very much. Then a few years later, I did part of it again with a friend. Didn't enjoy it nearly as much because it had terrible weather. The year that I did it, the weather was marvelous, and only a few days of rain over the 6 weeks or so that it took me to walk it. And the one thing I've done since then that I really enjoy is I've been exploring other kinds of trails in Europe that are not Caminos. Both Britain and France have marvelous, well-marked walking paths, and I've done fairly long hikes in both places. And for those of you who like doing that sort of thing, I really recommend that you get onto the National Trails website in Britain, or the websites that give all the GR stuff in France, because you can. The Via Podiensis is special, and I really love it. And you meet a lot of people, and it's well developed, and it's great. But there are a lot of other really cool places to walk in both countries. Spain too, but I can't speak to that because when I did the Via Podiensis, I didn't want to stop in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, because it didn't mean anything to me. So I went over the mountains and stopped in Roncesvalles, because at least that had some kind of literary meaning that I understood. Yeah. And I definitely recommend the hike over the Pyrenees. It's a lovely walk.
Thank you, David. Amanda Lumley. Hello.
Hello. This is I'm Amanda. This is Mark. We're two Australians from Sydney. We have half our family in Sydney, our children, and we've been living in Dubai in the UAE for the last 4 years with some more of our children. And we are packing. We have booked our flights for the 1st of July. And yeah, we leave from Le Puy and we are going through to Finisterre. So we've walked, but not any Caminos. We're really looking forward to it, aren't we?
It probably goes to say Amanda was talking about this when our first son was born 27 years ago. And in the words of somebody, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. So we're going to go from Le Puy instead of St. Jean to start in Le Puy.
Good for you.
And it's very exciting because it's actually my first holiday in 27 years without dragging children with me. So it's kind of really exciting.
That's great.
Kathy?
Kathy Schultes. You're muted. Oh, okay, there you go.
Hi. Hi, this is my husband, Richard. We live in central New York, a small city called Ithaca. And but right now we're in the Algarve region in Portugal. We've been here for a few months and we've walked 2 Caminos, the Camino Francés and the Portuguese Camino. And so at the end of this trip, you know, we only have 90 days in the EU. And so we're going to tack on the part of the Via Podiensis from Le Puy to Conques. So thank you to everybody for all of your wonderful suggestions. It's been very nice. So thanks.
Then we have Mike Bear.
Yeah, Mike Bear. But, you're muted.
Okay, I think I'm back. I'm Jennifer Berry, and my husband is Mike Berry. We are Americans from Colorado, but currently we're living on our sailboat. We've been in Martinique since the middle of January.
Oh, fabulous.
So I've been enjoying the French wine, the French Creole cuisine, and trying to learn some French.
I love it.
It's been
Sweet.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
We've also
totally.
been here because our sailboat diesel engine broke and it only got repaired today, so we are free again. Anyway, in 2019, we did 2 Caminos that year. We did the Camino Francés, and then after Finisterre and Santiago, we didn't feel that our Camino was finished, so we headed south and we walked the Camino Portuguesa in reverse.
Nice.
And finished our pilgrimage at Fatima. So this year we're returning now that it's easier to travel with COVID, and we're really looking forward to doing another long Camino, hopefully all the way from Le Puy to Santiago again. Starting early July.
Great. Yeah.
Right. Good time to walk.
So thank you all for your help. I belong to both the French language Facebook group, which is sometimes difficult to decipher, and this English language group, and it's wonderful.
Thank you.
And we have Linda.
Linda Dixon, you're muted right now. There we go.
Hi, I'm Linda Dixon. I live in Colorado, although today I'm visiting my mom in California, where I'm from. So I've walked, it took me 3 times to walk the Francés from St. Jean de Finisterre with my late husband. And then after that, I walked from Porto up to Santiago. And so I'm leaving in a couple of months to go to the Via Podiensis. And then I'm going to be volunteering at the Pilgrim Office the last week in June. So I'm kind of excited about that, especially since I thought I was volunteering for the Pilgrim Office in Santiago. And my brother said, "Oh, in France?" So it was a delightful mistake. So I speak Spanish and I love being in Spain and being able to actually talk to people. But so I'm really working hard on French right now, and it's completely new for me. So it's been Duolingo, Rosetta Stone, and just listening to a lot of stuff, listening. So hopefully I'll have some basic communication skills by the time I get
You're
there.
gonna love that town, Linda. It's beautiful.
St. John?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to walk for 4 weeks
Yeah.
before then, but I'm a slow walker. So I'm either going to start in Le Puy and walk until I run out of time, or I'm going to go to Figeac and walk into St. John.
I would
So-
encourage you to start in Le Puy.
For the beauty of it, right? But what about the people and the interaction with people?
No, well, that's where you're going to find the most people to interact with.
But the most French people that don't speak, that talk to each other.
The French,
It thins out a
the
lot.
French people,
After, until Conques, there'll be a lot of people, but then
Not just
it
French.
thins out a lot after Moissac. After Moissac, there's, I don't know, maybe a fourth of the people who started off in Le Puy with you who want to walk right up to Saint-Jean. There's only like a fourth of them left after Moissac. So, and then
Interesting.
also the stages get a bit longer, a bit more complicated to organize. So if you want interaction with people, it will be at the beginning of the Camino, the first 10 days.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Cindy Day. Hi, Cindy.
Hey, hi. This is my first Camino, and unlike all of you that are doing really long stages, I'm only able to do a week. And I leave Le Puy on May 15th.
Wow.
Nice backdrop there.
Yeah.
Thank you. I steal all the pictures on the Facebook group and save them to my phone so I can review all the beauty.
Highly recommend those who are in Le Puy, if you get there, give yourself some time to walk. Kate, I don't know what the top of that's called, but I walked up to the top and it was spectacular.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to spend a couple of days in Le Puy to get over jet lag and see some of Le Puy before I start.
That's a great.
It's a lovely walk to the top of that hill.
Yeah, I know. And go up to the little chapel. Saint Michel, that's amazing.
Then we have Wanda.
Wanda, you're muted. There you go.
I did introduce myself a little earlier. My niece and I, Dawn, are both from New Hampshire, and we will be leaving Easter Sunday to go to Ireland, and from there we're going to France and then to Spain. Just a little hike in the woods.
And you probably get lost.
Well, the first time I did it, we were lost for like 3 hours going the wrong way. Had to catch a bus back to Le Puy and start all over again. But it was enjoyable.
Yeah, so Kathleen Frew. Hi, Kathleen.
Hello, I live in Blairgowrie in Scotland, and this will be my very first Camino. I fly out on the 2nd of May, having a day in Le Puy, and then start on the 4th. I've got a couple of months. I don't know how far I'll get. I'm hoping I'll get into Spain. I have to stop and come back at then. I have no flight back arranged because I might need to stop before then. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. I am 70 years old and I am a little apprehensive about being a woman out there by myself. And what I would like when we get round to the next part of all of this is for anybody to reassure me that it'll be okay, or to tell me about what are the dangers to look out for.
Well,
Thank you.
When we'll present how this group came to be, when I start talking, I can tell you that was one of my preoccupations. So we'll talk about it. We'll address that. I think it's an important topic.
Thank you. Thank you.
And nothing to be worried about.
Well, that's what I want to hear.
Oh, yeah,
I've been reading quite a number of accounts of people who write books afterwards, and a couple of people have mentioned scary moments when they've been sort of approached and feel that they're going to be mugged, although it hasn't happened, or they've heard that people have been mugged, etc. And I just want to know the reality of that.
We'll talk about that. I think it's important.
Actually, one of the things that impressed me when I was on the Chemin du Puy is the number of women past middle age who do the Camino, who walk that route, is much larger than you would expect. I mean, the percentage of women past middle age in that group is much bigger than the percentage of women in the population as a whole.
Right. Absolutely.
So Marlo Pellis?
Enough. Close enough. For those of you from Canada, you should recognize the print behind me. I'm Marlo. I'm from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. This will be my third Camino. I feel like I'm probably the youngest person on this call, but just as enthusiastic. Do not take my age for lack of enthusiasm. If you were on Facebook last night, I was the one asking about sat phones because I do have a full-time plus job. So it is something I'm trying to manage through right now. I'm very excited about this one. I have a month off, which is also why I'm asking about sat phones. The plan right now is to start in Le Puy, walk for 2.5 weeks, 17 days, 18 days-ish. And then I figured while I'm there, I've never been to Bordeaux, so I'm going to go to Bordeaux. And then because I did walk the Camino Portugues in 2019, and I did write a book about it, I fell in love with Porto. So I figured, even though I have an entire month, I could walk the whole way to Saint Jean. I'm going to skip over that and fly down to Porto and hang out there for a week before I come home.
Sounds great.
Charlie?
Charlie, hi.
Hey, hi, how are you? Sorry, I'm kind of getting distracted here. Yeah, my name's Charlie. I live in the Charente, which is about 2 hours north of Bordeaux in France. Been here for nearly 8 years. It'll be 8 years in 3 months' time. I went with a neighbor last year down to walk. We wanted to find out what it was like. My friend Mike isn't very well, so we couldn't do very much every day. But we walked 57 miles over 6 days from near Condom until basically our 6 days were over. And I camped, and he's got a luxury motorhome, and which he needed for medical care every night. This year, unfortunately, he's not able to walk. He's not very well at all. And I am hoping, fingers crossed, that on May the 15th or somewhere around there, I'm going to be taking a train from Limoges, which is just down the road, to Cahors, and then get a bus up the road to, however you pronounce it, Figueres or whatever it is. And I'm going to walk for 240 kilometers over 15 days. A slow walk, but this is due to, I had a very bad break in my ankle 18, 19 months ago. My physiotherapist has recommended that I don't walk more than 10 miles a day because otherwise it causes problems. And the other reason I'm walking, I was going to start from the very beginning, but I had several people say that the first bit is actually quite tough on the old ankles. And because I'm actually got my hotel room is going to be on my back, I'm going to be carrying a 15-kilo bag, tent, kitchen, bedroom, the whole lot, which I'm quite used to. I'm not worried about the weight on it. So instead of starting there, I'm starting in Figueres, and I'm doing it for 2 reasons. A, because I want to walk it, and I've done other walks and camping, which I thoroughly enjoy. But also, about 15 months ago, I was diagnosed with cancer, and I've got to undergo treatment, which will be starting end of May, June time, and I've got to lose weight and I've got to get fitter because that will help me through the treatment side of it. I'll be 70 in a few months' time as well, so it all helps. I will say to everybody who's concerned about things, and I know you two guys are going to cover it, but we did meet a lot of single women. I was quite surprised who were overtaking us. And they kind of said, oh, well, where did you start from? And they said, oh, we started from the Puy. And we said, oh, bloody hell, that's like, that's a long way behind. And they were saying, well, yeah, but you find that after 3 or 4 days, your body starts to adjust and you start walking faster. And nobody had, the girls we spoke to, and I say girls, but I mean, they were from mainly kind of 40 age, right up. We met one lady who was in her 80s, and it was like, no, I've never had any problems. Everybody is so kind. And a lot of people actually, like we did, is that you meet somebody and you walk long distances with that person until either they stop or we stopped. And so anybody who's walking single, I can tell you, you might walk single for a day or two, but that'll be it because you're going to meet so many people. It's a terrific pathway. And I know loads of people who've done it, and everybody have said, how it changes you inside and changes you up there. And you meet super people from all over the world as well. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to, I'm not going to meet anybody in this group, I don't think, from where I'm starting and when I'm starting. But next year, I'm going to be back and I'm going to start from Le Puy and then do the whole of a French bit. I don't speak Spanish and I don't speak French. I'll tell you now, you can get by with about 10 words of French. Secret. Don't tell anybody. But that's true.
On to the next person, because there's a lot of people who still haven't talked, and we've got lots to do.
Absolutely.
But thank you very much.
Yeah. But also, can I just say that this book is absolutely fabulous. The Mia Mia Dodo.
Got it already.
Yeah, you can't get lost with it. Anyway, bless you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
I'm Margaret Holmes. Hi.
Hi, bonjour. Meg Holmes. And you might recall, I think you actually attended a Zoom presentation that I did for the American Pilgrims, the Boston chapter. I live near Boston, Massachusetts. I have walked at least 4, depends on how you want to count, Caminos. I will be off to do the Portuguese at the end of April. I'm still trying to complete the Le Puy. That's why I'm saying it depends on how you count them. I went with Wanda and Dawn, who are here in 2019. Because of my time constraints, I had to leave about halfway through. I stopped in Goa, intended to go in 2020 to finish it off. Obviously couldn't do that. Went back in 2021 with my husband, and this was his first time. We started from Goa, and on the 3rd day, he fell down the mountain. So at that point, he had pulled his hamstring. We had to limp 2 miles to the town where we could get help, but it was Sunday. It was not easy to get help on Sunday, but the people along the way that we did meet were very helpful. Camino Angels all. Got him back home. We had to stop in Wasak, and the fellow who owned the gîtes there was very instrumental in helping us get our way back out. We flew back to Bordeaux and then we flew home. And I got home, I realized that I could have put him on the plane and kept on walking. So I instead, having got him safely home, I said, do you mind if I go back to France? So he said, no. So I went back to France, but the time that I had put aside had obviously shrunk a great deal. And I knew I didn't have time to finish by walking all the way to Saint Jean. So I walked for about 6 or 7 days. I got as far as Condom. And I met three wonderful young women. They were in their 50s, but I'm a whole lot older than that. And they became the Three Musketeers because, of course, we're walking on the D'Artagnan section of the Gera 65, and I became the fourth Musketeer, and they have invited me to join them back at the end of August to continue walking together. So the Four Musketeers hopefully will have a reunion at the end of August.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Meg. We have Robert then, Robert Deming.
Robert, are you there?
Maybe, let's ask him to unmute. Let's go to Karen, and then we can go back to Robert afterwards.
Hi, Karen Axelrod. Hi, Karen.
Hi, I'm Karen. I'm from Brattleboro, Vermont, and I'm addicted to the Chemin. I haven't done any other Caminos, but I just want to keep going back to France over and over. I was there pre-COVID. And I'm a musician, so I don't bring my piano, but every gîte, I would play the piano, and then the gîte owners would be wonderful and say I could stay for a week. And I got to play the piano in Conch, the monk who plays the accordion lent me, I mean, he plays the organ, he lent me his accordion. Anyway, so it's sort of a chemin and a musical journey for me, but I'm not going back this year just because I'm not ready COVID-wise. But the year after, I'm hoping to go. So hearing everyone talk about them going is bringing up a lot of missing it. It's felt totally safe as a single woman. I love walking it alone. I pretend to speak French, but I don't. So I start walking with someone and speak with them in French, and they correct me. And it's the best thing in the world, and I say bon chemin to all of you who are going this year, and I'll be there the following year.
Just before we move on to the next person, I just want to say there is in Livignac-le-Haut, there is a gîte called La Vie est Belle, La Vita è Bella, and the owner of that gîte, I forget his name, he is a wonderful musician, and he's got a great piano. So I would really encourage you to stay there because I'm sure you'll have a lot to say and to share with people. It's a great experience. Thank you very much. We have Bernadette.
Yes, hello, all the way from Sydney, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Bernadette, thank you.
So I've been walking the Via Podiensis. I'm French. I live in Sydney, but I'm French, actually from Alsace, from Strasbourg. So I want to walk the Via Podiensis from Le Puy to this time to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. I walked from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port to Santiago in 2018 and absolutely loved it. I walked by myself. I was going to walk with a friend, and her husband got sick, so she couldn't make it, and I was absolutely terrified to walk by myself, and there was nothing to be terrified about. It was absolutely beautiful. Met lots of people, lots of American people. I actually ended up walking with 2 American women from Vermont, I think, and a German woman, and it was like the best experience. So I'm really looking forward to doing the French one from Le Puy. So my friend's coming with me this time, and so we're starting on the 1st of September, and hope to finish sort of early October in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. And this group has been fantastic. Just all the information that everybody's contributing, and so I'm hoping to meet some of you on the way. So thank you, and thank you for organizing that Zoom meeting. It's been really good.
Merci beaucoup, Bernadette. Et maintenant,
merci. Il n'y a pas beaucoup de Français sur ce groupe.
Oui, mais sur le chemin.
Oui, sur le chemin, il y en aura plein. Ma sœur l'a fait. My sister has done bits and pieces like a lot of French do, a week at a time. So I know that's going to happen. We're going to meet lots of people doing a week at a time.
Especially that first week.
Yes.
Lise de Rocher.
Oui, bonjour.
Bonjour.
I'm Lise de Rocher. I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And I walked the Française in 2019 from Saint-Jean to Santiago Santiago, and then I walked on to Muxia and Finisterre. And I was grieving, so I find my Camino is very much a blur. So I'm looking forward to going and it being in a different mindset completely. When I returned to Canada, I was fortunate that it just so happened the month later, they were offering hospitaliero training. So I got trained so I can work at an albergue. And so I planned on returning. And of course, because of COVID, that got all postponed, but I'm finally going in May. And I'm starting in the Prix, my walk first from the Prix. My roots are French, so I wanted to start further in France, even though I did start in Saint-Jean last time. And I heard that this is the most beautiful of all the walks. So I'm starting there and I'm walking from the Prix. I'm going to Saint-Jean, and then I'm keeping on walking the Française to a place called Nájera, Spain. And it's probably, I think it's about 10 days after Saint-Jean. And then I'm hoping to arrive there around end of June because I start my hospitaliero position July 1st to July 15th. And once I'm finished that, I have to decide whether I walk more or I go home. I'll decide there. I never buy a return ticket. I'll figure it out when I get there if I want to do another 600 kilometers, or maybe I'll have had enough, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm looking.
You're going to be in the communal. You're going to be in the communal in Nájera.
Pardon me?
Will you be a hospitalera in the communal in Nájera?
Yes, it's an albergue that was very. It had like 100 beds apparently. I don't even remember walking through it. Like I say, my Camino's a blur. Yeah. And there might have been an alternate route, and I always took all the alternates. So I don't even know, I don't remember Nájera, but it is there. Canadians have contributed quite a bit to a big renovation and improvements to it. So they are now trying to get Canadians to be hospitalieros and hospitalieras because of the contributions and support we made. So now this hostel or this albergue only has about 40 beds. So it's much smaller, and it's supposed to be very lovely now, and I'm really looking forward to it, but I don't remember anything about it.
So Bert,
I'm fluent in French. I'm becoming fluent in Spanish. I'm working on that.
Hey, Bert Rona, you're muted.
Hold on. Hi. I'm calling from Castro Valley in Northern California, 25 miles east of San Francisco. And last year, last week of September, I started from Le Puy. And then I think I wrote Rob that I stopped over in after 115 kilometers because of the weather. Being from California, it's warmer. It was 2 degrees. The wind was howling and it was raining. So I gave up. Although the people I've met, they were Swiss German, French German from Switzerland. And they were kidding me and telling me why give up. But then I said, I can't do it. So I came back and I went down to, I had 4 weeks to Barnes. So I went down to Spain and went through around down south in the Andalusia area. And then anyway, I've done 6 Caminos. I started in 2016 with from St. John to do the Frances. And then the following year in 17, I did the Del Norte from Irún.
I'm sorry, we'd love to hear about all your Caminos, but there's still a few people who need to talk.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No
worries, no worries.
I'm sorry.
We'll talk about these Zoom calls and maybe what we can do with these Zoom calls, because we'd love to hear you and hear everybody's story. But right now we're just trying to meet you all, and maybe Robert Deming.
Hi, I live in the middle of Texas in Fredericksburg. I walked the Le Puy route last fall, last August, September, from St. John to St. John from Le Puy. I'd been on it a couple of times before, but never did the whole thing. And I'm leaving in 3 weeks to walk the way of St. Francis in Italy, which will take about a month.
Nice.
Good.
Trish?
Hi.
Hi.
I live in Amelia Island, Florida, and I walked solo from Le Puy to Cahors in 2018. And at the time I had planned to split up the Camino going all the way to the coast, Murcia, in 3 parts, Le Puy to Cahors, Cahors to Pamplona, crossing over the Pyrenees at the end of that second part, and then Pamplona to Santiago and Murcia. So I planned the second part for 2020. That didn't happen. And so perhaps this summer, perhaps next summer, I will go all the way from Cahors to Murcia. And actually, I went to Rocamadour as a day trip from Figeac, and I really loved Rocamadour, and I highly recommend it. So I'm considering actually starting the next time in Rocamadour because it's fairly easy to get to by public transportation, train to Brive, and then right on to Rocamadour, and walking from there to Figeac and continuing. So so many more things I could say. Just one very small thing is I lived in Baltimore when I walked in 2018, and I moved here. When I wasn't able to walk another pilgrimage, I moved here to Amelia Island, Florida, in Fernandina Beach. And unknowns to me, in downtown Fernandina Beach, there is a historic marker that mentions Le Puy-en-Velay.
Oh, wow. That's
Because one of the very first, missions was there were nuns that came from Le Puy, young nuns came from Le Puy to St. Augustine, Florida, and then they came here to Fernandina Beach in the 16th century.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you very much, Trish.
Oh, and thank you all. So thank you, Kate and Rob. It's so wonderful to see everyone.
Who do we have? Donna DeLuca?
No, we had. No, it's here. It's David Webb, isn't it?
Oh, I don't.
I already spoke. I started you.
Yeah, it's David Webb. Hi, David.
Yes. Hi, everybody. I have not done a Camino, but I have walked in the Cotswolds, and that's where I've learned to love long distance walking. And I haven't planned a trip on the Camino, but I'm looking very seriously at Le Puy GR65 route. And so I'm very interested in hearing all about it, learning about it. I've been on the Facebook for about a month following it. And it's been wonderful, inspiring, and I'm looking forward to an adventure there someday, perhaps later this fall, in the fall, but perhaps if not then next year.
A lot less expensive than the Cotswold Way.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going back to the Cotswolds this summer, and which is why I'm not sure how I can fit this in this year, but hopefully in the next year.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
Jennifer Andrews, Wellington.
Yes, joining you from Wellington, New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, with my friend Melissa, we're going to walk from Le Puy to Saint-Jean, starting on the 15th of May. Really looking forward to it. I've been planning for this for quite a long time, started seriously planning for it a couple of years, aiming to finish all the way in Santiago on my 50th birthday, which would have been last October, but obviously that couldn't happen. Borders have been pretty hard closed in New Zealand for 2 years and are only just opening up. So basically been watching and waiting, champing at the bit for the first opportunity to get out at a time when I can get back in. So yeah, so we're going to start walking. We fly out of here on the 10th of May, and we're going to start walking in Le Puy on the 15th of May. That's timed so that we can be in Aubrac for the Transhumance on the weekend of the 22nd of May, which is something I've always wanted to do. So yeah, super excited about that. But obviously struggling with accommodation at the last minute because it's been all booked up for a long while, but we're getting there. Yeah, and I have early onset Parkinson's, and so it was kind of when I got that diagnosis that I realized why the Camino was calling. I'd always wanted to do it, but I never quite knew why. I've always loved walking, and exercise and walking is one of the things that probably the only thing that they know really helps ward off. So yeah, so that's my Camino, and I'll be using the Camino to raise funds for Parkinson's New Zealand. So you'll probably see my give a little link on the Facebook group at some point. Bon chemin, and I speak fluent French, so I'm really, and we have a house in the Pyrenees that in normal times we would go to a couple of times a year from New Zealand. So yeah, I'm going to take some time at the house on the end of it after we finish in Saint-Jean. Wander over the Pyrenees, so that'll be super. Just really looking forward to that. Speaking French, seeing French people, and eating and drinking French food and drink.
Jennifer, it's Brent in Vancouver. If you haven't done it already, there's a fellow named Chris Atkinson. He's from New Zealand as well, and he did the Le Puy route in 2017, and he's got a great section there of about 33 consecutive day videos for it. And his Kiwi humor really goes a long way. Have a look at it.
Yeah.
If you can.
Cool. I'll look out for him. That's good. Yeah, I've noticed there's a few Kiwis on the groups, but not many.
He did a consecutive like 600-day trip around the world, but he did a really exceptional grouping of the Kiwi on the
We also have a couple of friends, a couple who are friends of ours that we met on our last Camino, on our last Le Puy route. We should maybe put you in touch with them. They're great people, and they're very, very knowledgeable about that route too.
Mm-hmm.
Then Ro?
Ro? Hi, Ro.
Yes, that's us.
Yeah. We're actually, we're Tina and Roel Arredondo. We live in Southern Oregon, Roseburg, Oregon. And we're planning on going to do the Piedmont, Chemin de Piedmont this September. We don't have a plan for Le Puy yet, but hopefully in the future. But the whole French route will be very new to us, so we thought we might learn something here. We did the Camino Portuguese last year.
Is the Camino Portuguese, do you have any other experience of the Camino apart from the Portuguese?
Not much. We started all the way from Lisbon, though, so we did quite a bit. And then we went out to Murcia and finished there. And we had 1 week on the Camino Francés from Pamplona to Logroño about 3 years ago.
Okay, okay. I think we should have a private conversation about this because Robert and I walked the Piedmont route. There's definitely some very good aspects to it. There are some that are a bit hard. Almost no services on that route. So it's still a great Camino. I would just say let's get in touch and talk about this.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I'm a little concerned about that.
Yeah. So
yeah, there's lots of days with
I think definitely it's a Camino that you want to think about and see if it agrees with you. On the Le Puy route, you would not have any problems, even if maybe one day, you may have to walk a little bit more to get to the next supermarket. On the other Camino, you just have to be a little more careful about this. It's a wonderful route. It was our honeymoon Camino.
Well, we've got 6 people. Yeah, 6 people that are going in a group.
Yeah, 2 of my sisters and another couple.
That's very interesting. So, so let's write down your name and we'll be in touch.
Good. That would be great.
We have, I don't know, Rini?
Yeah, Rini Ada.
Yes. Hello, everybody. I love hearing everybody's stories and how many. I didn't know that people walked this many times, and this is going to be my first walk. And I hope it's one of many. I'm sure it's going to be one of many. It will be short. It will be just from Le Puy to Figeac with a girlfriend of mine who will then continue on the way. My French boyfriend is jealous. He won't be joining, which means I'm on my own with French. But he will be joining me later. We've actually been vacationing in the Dordogne for the past 5 years or so. And I just absolutely am in love with Southwest France. And during the pandemic, when of course we had to cancel our initial plans to go 2 years ago, we were bored one day. And so we bought a barn, not far from Dome. So after the walk, he'll meet me there and we'll start to get to work on some sort of renovation. It's going to be a multi-year project, but it'll be exciting. And so we'll eventually move there and be able to do many more walks. So
that's lovely, lovely.
And I live in New York City.
Is there anyone who hasn't had an opportunity to speak and would love to say a few words? I think if you, I think we've seen everyone.
Yeah, I think we've covered. Is there anybody who hasn't spoken?
No. Okay, let's just assume that everybody has said. So would you like to say maybe just a few words about your group, how it came to be, Robert?
Okay, just very quickly. So the beginning of 2011, it's a synchronous event. Looking back, I didn't know at the time, but I stumbled on the Camino and I was doing some research and I found this little book in the local library with a photograph, black and white photograph, and it was just the volcanic plug with the tiny little chapel of Saint-Michel d'Aiguille in Le Puy. And I knew I'm starting there. And very shortly afterwards, I was with my youngest son and he said, "Dad, you never used guidebooks." So I threw my guidebooks away and I went to Le Puy and started walking. And I walked to Santiago, Finisterre, Murcia, and I returned to England where my mother was injured herself. And so I assumed I was free. I assumed the duty of looking after her in her home. And in around Christmas of 2011, I wanted to contact my friends from my Camino families, my various families. And I didn't have any contact details except for 3 people. So I contacted my friend Artyom in Moscow and he said, "Go on Facebook." And yeah, I thought Facebook, you know, forget it. But anyway, I went on Facebook and there within about a week or 2, I found 100 of my friends. So we had a little group together for a while. A number of us, we had reunions. We had about 8 reunions.
In person?
Yeah, in person in various parts of Europe. And in 2013, I thought towards the end, you know, I was participating in groups of various kinds. Well, why don't I start a group? So I started a group for Le Puy. And soon it grew and now it is where it is. And during that time, I came in contact with my beautiful Kate. Camino love of another kind.
So I'll just tell my story, but I've written, oh, there's somebody in the waiting room, let's admit them. I've written a little bit about it. It's in one of the pinned posts at the top of our page. What I want to say is, so I joined Robert's group in 2014. I didn't know Robert at the time. I was living in Paris. I am half French, half English, or I like to say 100% French and 100% British. I walked in 2015 and my first Camino was the Via Podiensis. So it's very special in my heart for many reasons. And I think somebody, a French pilgrim friend of ours, he says, the first Camino is like the first love, you know, you can never forget that. What I wanted to say really today is that my first Camino, I was like a complete Camino idiot. I had absolutely no idea. I did not want to be a pilgrim. I didn't like the word pilgrim. I had a super messy Camino. When I arrived in Le Puy, I didn't want to be in a gîte with other people. I was very scared of sleeping in a room with strangers. So I booked a hotel. And here I am now recommending, you know, to go to gîtes. I didn't even see, I mean, did not literally see the chapel on the plug. All I did was go to the mass the following morning at 7 a.m. And I was so scared of not being able to make it to the end of the day. I left just after the pilgrim blessing, just after we receive our little presents. And I didn't even know about the opening in the floor of the cathedral because I'd left the cathedral before. So just to tell you how much, you know, that kind of mentality I was in at the time. So I left Le Puy, and it took me about an hour to realize that I was not on the Podiensis. I was on the Stevenson Trail. So I walked about 5K because I walked very quickly because I was in a rush. And then I realized, well, there's no pilgrims on this route. There's absolutely nothing on this route. There were the gîtes signs, but I thought, okay, what shall I do? I felt I was panicking, you know, could feel the adrenaline. And I thought, okay, I'll wait. It was very beautiful. It was a great, I mean, it was a spectacular sight. And I waited for other people to appear. And sure enough, there was another person who appeared. And she too had made that same mistake as me. So then I was thinking, okay, what shall we do? And then we waited a bit more. And the third person said, you're on the Stevenson Trail. So we just you know that maybe now I can be a kind of a Camino expert. I certainly didn't begin that way. And then I walked back to Le Puy. I was in a hurry to walk back to Le Puy. And of course, now I was late. All the group of people had left. It was around, I mean, I don't know, it was super hot. And I didn't know that there was that kind of steep climb on the other side. I just rushed along. And then I got to the top and I thought, you know, what am I doing? And then I met a friend who stayed with me for a couple of days, and she was great help. She'd walked the Norte, and she sort of helped me sort of calm down. Just to tell you that when I say my Camino was messy, it was messy on all levels. I had bedbug bites. I had, in the best gîte ever, which no longer exists, it was really a beautiful experience. In the night, I got bitten by bed bugs. And the following day, I did exactly what you shouldn't do, is I never talked to, I mean, see, I didn't have any bites on my face. It was just on my body. I didn't talk about it to anyone. I felt ashamed. And I didn't know who to talk to. And it was hard because it was, you know, I didn't feel good. And I also got bitten by dogs. You know, you just name it, I had it. And all I want to say is that it didn't stop me from having the most beautiful experience. It was really, at the end of that, I felt so confident. I'd become a really confident person. And I felt that I was ready for anything could happen in my life. I knew I could deal with it. And when I got back, I just felt so grateful. I started posting on the group a lot, and I started talking to Robert, and before you knew it, I just friended him, which he was very grateful I did. Then we realized that my English grandparents were buried in a small village that's about 20 miles from where Robert lived. So I had planned to put some flowers on my grandparents' grave. And then I said, well, why don't we meet? And we did, and we fell in love, and then that's it. So the Camino keeps on giving, you know, its blessings, that first Camino. And I just said to him, yeah, we can live together, we can walk a Camino together. And we walked the Norte and the Primitivo together, but we already knew that we were meant to be together. And I think really what we try to do now is to bring the Camino in our daily lives. So we're still it's a journey, and we still are discovering about it. And we, you know, I think when you walk a Camino, you become so alive. So, I mean, what's her name? Christy, the woman who's posting all these beautiful pictures right now. She's walking in dreadful conditions right now, right? But the happiness that, you know, the glow, that love, it just shines through. I think that's what the Camino does to you. And you can forget any notion of being pilgrimage, or if that word is hard for some people, they may object to it. Now I embrace it, but really at the time I didn't like it at all. Just want to say that experience with connecting to nature, and France is wonderful for that, because you get the experience in nature, you get to walk through these old villages, you get that connection with the past, with people who've done it too. Of course, it's a great place for the celebration of food, of the joy of living, la joie de vivre. That's it, you know. And I think that I find that even as a French person, I find that walk is a wonderful celebration of life in general. And that's what we want to share really in this group, I think, with Robert. I'm going to stop talking because I'm quite talkative when I'm passionate, but that's what I want to say. I mean, we have such a love for this. That's what we want everyone to experience. And we also have this desire to create a community about this. So there. So Robert, it's your group.
It's our group.
It's our group, yeah.
Yeah, so thank you very much for all you folks for joining now. We're blessed that so many people wanted to come, particularly from New Zealand and Australia. That's amazing. This is the first time we've done something like this. And so, you know, we're kind of not sure exactly what we're going to do, but one of the things, the ideas that we had was to maybe have some of you tell a much more full story about yourselves, because I know one of the things is sharing stories is wonderful. I mean, Laurie Philo Cook, for instance, I mean, her walk last year, chronicling her way in such amazing way, and the photos she posted. I mean, I know that that's one of the things that really makes this group. And, you know, we love that kind of thing. So we'd like to invite folks, if they like the idea, to spend a little time, you know, 5 minutes or so, talking about something that was special for them, something about the route of this, the Le Puy route. So I don't know, what do you guys think? How do you like that idea?
It's a wonderful idea.
Sounds good.
I like it.
Kate,
Yeah, same here.
I
Hey.
love it.
I've got one thing to pass on for those who are planning. I thought Kate could probably explain the idea that the French have is something called the Pont Chemin, where like a statutory holiday lands on a Thursday, the French take a Friday as an extra day, so they have this long weekend idea. So Kate, could you explain that to people who are planning their trip this year?
Especially in May.
So
yeah, I traveled through 3 statutory holidays,
okay.
and it's a challenge for stores and things like that. But like it was okay because I knew that was happening, because I read Miam Miam Dodo from front to back, and I sort of understood that. But for those who aren't able to read that and understand that, it's a challenge. Go ahead, Kate.
So les ponts de Mai, yes, you're right. The month of May can be a bit of a challenge because it is, for different reasons, it's even worse than what you just said, because most of the time there's a Monday included.
Yes.
So there can be, it's an opportunity for people to take several days off. So what they do is when there's Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and the Thursday, for example, is a religious holiday, then they will take the Friday off as well. So you can end up with 5 days of holidays, 2 or maybe even 3 times in that month. So it is I think the French just love to be able to enjoy their time, you know. I have no experience of this on the Camino, although I do have an experience of a long weekend that's difficult on the Camino, which is the 15th of August, when it's a week on, it falls on a weekend. I would say don't worry too much about it because the Podiensis is very well catered for in general. I mean, people who now, especially, I think you walked in 2014, am I right, Brent?
18.
Yeah. So I think, you know, since the first time you walked and now there have been many changes, it's become, I think many people are aware of this, are aware that, you know, there needs to be something for pilgrims. Anyway, gîtes are open.
Yeah, gîtes are certainly all open.
Yeah.
Don't close up. But yeah, one of the
One
things.
thing I would add, you know, the question always comes up to you on the Facebook group, does one need to make reservations ahead, or should one, as Robert likes to call it, walk organically? Okay. The month of May is a time when it doesn't hurt to call ahead a day or two.
Yes.
Because, I mean, unless you're much stronger than I am, I always called ahead each night for the next night. And, you know, I don't want to walk more than about 20 kilometers a day. And so if I come to a place where I'm expecting to stay and there's nothing open that's available, I don't want to walk another 20 kilometers.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Right. And so when the month of May, which is very busy, is a good time to call ahead a couple of days and make sure that you have someplace to stay.
Yeah, and just to back that up, I mean, I was pretty flexible. I'm not worried about booking as I go, but for a variety of reasons, we did want to book for our first week because of timings. And yeah, it's taken me ages. Like most places are pretty booked up. So I'm thinking I'm quite glad that I have actually booked that first week, because I'm starting to think if I just turned up,
yeah,
I'm sure there'd be something, but yes, because of the transhumance in particular, I mean, that's why we booked, because we knew that would be busy. But even so, most of the people I've contacted as potential accommodation, I mean, one of the places I went through about 10 different options and they were all booked, and that was not just in Aubrac. And the gîte owners said, oh, you know, look, May is a really super busy month, so you need to like confirm because we're busy. So yeah, that's just my experience. But I mean, after Aubrac, we're planning on just finding as we go and maybe booking 1 or 2 or 3 days in advance once we get into a rhythm. So it's probably a balance.
Probably if you're booking, and I totally understand that. I mean, I did that on my first Camino. I booked my first 3 nights. And then I was lucky to have people who helped me relax and understand that I could do it another way. But I wasn't walking in May. I was walking in July, which is not the busiest of times on the Podiensis. Yeah, maybe May is a good time to think about that, and probably the very first section of the Camino. But then after,
school holidays in May too.
One other place where I would strongly advise booking ahead is Horizon. If you're planning to cross the Pyrenees, Horizon is a beautiful place to stop, and it has limited capacity, and you get all the traffic that's starting out on the Camino Frances for Spain. And so I called, I forget where I was, I think Condom, but I've forgotten. And I reserved about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ahead at Horizon. And
that's
they
important
wanted
in Horizon.
They wanted me to send them a check. I said, well, unfortunately, my checkbook is in my desk drawer in Wisconsin, and I'm on the Camino. So they said, well, when you get to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, call ahead and remind us that you're coming, which I did, and that worked fine.
yes, you'll find that many gîtes will ask you to send a check, and if you just say that you can't, then they don't insist.
There's Le Sauvage, which a lot of people know about. That you have to book fairly far in advance.
Almost a year in advance. I mean, when we were on our last Camino on the Le Puy route, that was in 2019, we decided to book, we tried to book in January for June. It was full.
But yeah, you don't have to stay there. We wound up staying a little bit before.
And
it was actually not staying in these popular places opens up a lot of beds. I mean, if you walk off the stage, there are plenty of beds most of the time.
By the way, there's another approach to that. Because of the way people's jobs are, most people start on the weekend. And if you can start on a Tuesday or a Wednesday,
absolutely.
The wave of people is not as big.
Yeah.
Good point, David. That's a very good point. Charlie wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out to anybody who's not walked this before, I can't comment about accommodation because I can't, but food is a very important thing because one doesn't realize that in France, the shops don't open on Sunday, and on a lot of villages and towns, they don't open up on a Monday either. And it can be, if you're planning to eat at a restaurant or cafe, that's fine, but they won't be open necessarily all day on a Sunday. They will open up at about 11 o'clock and they close 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And if you get there before or after that time, you won't be able to get any food. And the shops, I was absolutely amazed about the shops. They close on a Sunday. They're just not open, and because May has got so many holidays, everything closes.
Yeah, not food shops there. They don't close during the 4 or 5 days. They will be closed, I will say, Sunday afternoon for sure, and Monday. Sunday mornings, most of the time, you'll find a market somewhere. But they won't be closed for the full 5 days, for example, of the pont. That I'm sure of.
Sorry, I was going to just say that since the pandemic, a lot of the actual markets now have actually almost gone. We're quite shocked last year when we were walking, thinking how many places didn't have anything open.
Yes, so Charlie, I think that it's reopened quite a lot. I think last year was very difficult, yes. I think this year you'll find it's more relaxed because, I mean, the rules are just not the same right now for COVID. I just wanted to address this question about walking as a woman alone on this way. Generally speaking, a few people have said something about this. when I was preparing for my Camino, I think it was the first time there was such a tragic accident that, well, not an accident, a tragedy happened somewhere in Spain. There was a woman who got murdered on the Camino. And a lot of my friends were texting me and saying, oh, don't go, this is crazy, you're going to be walking alone. Actually, I must say that I've never felt as safe as on the Camino. I think nobody can be guaranteed anything anywhere, but the Camino, because of the people who are walking and the way we're going, I think it's a pretty safe place. I would say, yes, of course, you know, things happen, but really it's safer than walking in the streets of I don't know, New York, probably. You know, it really, there are a lot of women walking on their own, and if you are scared or something, you can meet other women, other people walking. You can ask to join them.
Well, that's one of the things, you know, you're walking and you meet somebody and you walk all day with them, or you walk several days with them. I walked with this young German guy for 400 kilometers. He'd been getting up at 11 in the morning. We met, he started getting up at 6 in the morning, and we walked day after day, all day long for 400 kilometers. It was amazing. So you're always going to meet people. But if you want to be alone, on the other hand, you know, you can do that as well.
On the Podiensis, if you want to walk completely on your own, you can, and not be with other people around you. And it just in case you feel a bit lonely, or you feel that you'd like to see other people, just stop somewhere. And after 5 minutes, you'll see somebody go by, and then you could just, it's, you're never completely on.
I've walked.
Yes.
I've walked on my own for 3 or 4 weeks in the UK, and I love it, which is why I wanted to do this by myself. And it's only in reading these books that these anxieties, you know, I had not realized. I mean, I'm so looking forward to this, and I just needed to ask this question to know if this was kind of out of proportion. It's an anxiety I can very easily drop and never think about again. If that's what you guys are telling me, there's no big dangers here. Go out and enjoy it, because people will look after each other as they go along. And I would like to walk by myself.
It's
lots of the time, but I would also like company, and that's fine. And I think that's the way that it goes, from what I can gather.
My experience was that I rarely walked with people, but I kept meeting the same people in the gîtes.
Right.
So I got to know people.
I
So
called
if
that.
you want to walk alone and have company, that's a really good place to have that combination.
I called that weaving in and out with people, because I didn't necessarily walk with them, but you'd weave in and out with the same people, which was wonderful.
I think you need to look at the statistics here. Is I've only known of one person ever being affected violently on the Camino, and it was in Spain. It was the person Kate was talking about earlier. But since that time, you got to remember, there's been 600,000 people walked that way. One person was violently attacked. 600,000.
It's like bed bugs.
Yeah.
They've evaporated.
And anywhere in France is far safer than anywhere in the United States.
I don't know. One curious thing: if you make friends on the Camino, on the Chemin du Puy, you'll get a new group every couple of weeks, because the French people tend to walk it a couple of weeks at a time.
Right.
So you'll have a group, let's say, that you walk with from Le Puy to Conques, and then they'll drop out, and then there'll be some new people.
Right.
And they'll be with you for the next couple of weeks. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to it. Yeah. Thank you.
I highly recommend you take the dinner with the other pilgrims in the evening in the gîtes.
Oh, yes.
It's a great way to reconnect, plan your next days, share what, just basic share. It's a wonderful experience. And I tell you, I was the sole English speaking person, native English speaking person at most of these dinners, but I had the best of times. Highly recommend.
Thank you.
Take that demi-pension wherever you go. And I kind of like knowing where my food is. I love food. So I quite often ordered a picnic. And it sounds the same in French or English. Picnic, order a picnic lunch for the next day. It's anywhere from 8 to 12 euro. It might have gone up, I don't know, but I like to know that my food's with me because, again, as you heard, some of these stores, etc., are closed. But no, the food is the best. I haven't stopped eating lentils since then, and I wasn't a lentil person, but now it's like a couple of days a week in my diet. The Le Puy lentil, man, it's to die for. Seriously.
I agree.
Foodie.
Yeah. Anything
So-
else you would like?
I wanted to share something I'm really excited about, and you're the only group that will truly understand. It won't take long, but for any of you who's hiked in a Camino and stayed in gîtes, and they're like really loud snorers, and it's like you just have to put up with it. Well, I am a loud snorer, and I would bring my travel sleep apnea kit, CPAP, even though I don't really have apnea, I just snore loudly. So I felt like I was being such a good pilgrim, and it was like 1.5 pounds or 2 of extra weight that I was doing for all my fellow people in the gîte. And then last year I discovered there's this thing that I can put in my mouth on my tongue, and it will stop my snoring. So I really want to go back to the gîtes, and I'll just travel with this instead of bringing my CPAP. So I'm so excited because my friends here don't understand, but any of you who's stayed with me in a gîte will like really, really appreciate that. Now all I have to carry is this.
What is
Okay.
it called? What is it called?
It's called Good Morning Snore Solution. I'm not a distributor of it, but anyway, I'm so happy because it was such a pain to bring the stupid CPAP just so that all the French people wouldn't like hate me.
The noise. The
Anyway.
noise of the all night.
So I just had to share it because I've been dying to tell people who share rooms in gîtes about it.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Robert, did you want to say something?
I've walked on the Via Podiensis 3 times, and every time I go, I think, well, I've walked all these caminos, and in Spain and Portugal, and and I know what I'm doing. And then every time I feel like a complete amateur my first few days. I feel like I have no idea what's going on. I think, oh, you should be an expert by now. I speak a little French, but I'm always dazed and confused my first few days. And feel like it's taking all my brain power just to get to a gîte and find a bed. And last summer I did 6 weeks every day out the door. It was magic. But it makes me humble to remember that every single time I think I'm a pro, and I'm just really an amateur.
And every time it's another pilgrimage, right? Even if you know how to pack your bag, even if you know the practicalities of it, it's still, you're going to meet other people. It's just another adventure every time. Yeah. It's beautiful.
I still take something that I shouldn't take, and I forget something that I should take, and it always works out. But I think I'm a pro. No,
well,
there always does something to humble me in there.
I love what you say, Robert. Last time we thought we were such pros. We went for this 4-month Camino from Le Puy basically to Lisbon. And, you know, we packed pretty conscientiously our bags. But I have this love of French soap. And I got in Paris, maybe a couple of months before our Camino, I got this huge 1 kilo bar of great Marseille soap that I cut up into pieces.
I actually did that.
He actually did that.
I said, honey, I'm not carrying that whole lump.
But we ended up sending to what's her name in Santiago? Sybil Yates, for those
Sybil,
who know.
yeah.
We ended up sending to Sybil our extra weight, and we didn't feel too proud about that. So we put soap, we put our extra pair of shoes. Somebody was talking about shoes the other day, about the number of pairs of shoes. I think, yes, it's an experience of becoming humble again, I think. Yes, very much so. I really love that. I appreciate very much what you just said, Robert. Thank you. Well, I think maybe it's time to wrap up.
Yeah, I think so.
So,
Oh, can I ask a quick question?
Of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, hi, it's Catherine. Quick question relative to the, is it called the Selly variant?
Yes.
Is that fair? Okay. How many days would one anticipate going from, is it Figeac to Cahors?
So if you're walking the whole Camino, it adds a day and a half. The same if you want the Rock Amador variant, it's a day added to the route. So if you're
Okay.
30 days, it'll be 31 days, basically.
So, how many nights would you anticipate being on this variant? I'll rephrase it.
We did 10 days on that. We did that route, and we did 10 days total. So 9 nights.
On the Sele?
Yeah. Figeac to Moissac. We did Figeac to Moissac actually 10 days.
Oh, well, yeah. So that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
And it was totally magical and the most beautiful thing I've ever done in my life.
It's about 100.
But there is
if you go
there
from Figeac to Cahors, so 100 kilometers. So 20. So 5 days, something like that.
Okay. Okay.
There is another thing that's worth thinking about. At one of the towns along the Sele variant, I think right at the beginning, there is one of those caves that you can go down into with cave paintings. And it's really interesting, and it's worth scheduling some time to do that.
Yes.
It's Peshmeral, and it's well worth it.
Yeah, Peshmeral, that's it. Yeah.
And get
It's
reservations
actually
in advance.
towards the
It'll be
end of the
full.
Soleil.
Yeah.
The Peshmeral is towards the end of the Soleil. It's near Cabarets.
Yeah.
And
Cabaret, yeah.
I think when Wander and I walked, she could correct me, I think we spent 4 nights on the Soleil. And that might be another way to look at it, Catherine Eastman, if that's what you're trying to figure out. I think we spent 4 nights on the Soleil variant itself.
Thank you, Margaret. That is exactly what I'm after.
Yeah.
Okay.
I followed someone in this group who did this live variant, and it was 3 women, and they did do a canoe ride as part of it, and they also did the cave, and they spent 6 nights. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking, because I'm not a fast walker. But yeah.
Right, but it
Just
doesn't
FYI.
add 6 nights to the length, to the total length, because you'd spend several nights walking from Figeac to Cahors anyway.
Yeah, so that's about a day, 2 days maximum.
That's good to know, because we've already walked that, and we're trying to go do the variant and get back on course. So, okay. It's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Just one thing, if ever you are in a very good Camino group and you're not sure about going on the Soleil variant, know that you will lose your Camino group by going on the variant. but I think it's interesting. I think if the Sille variant is your goal, definitely do it. If you're not sure, just leave it open, because it's a beautiful walk. But sometimes when you are walking and you are in your Camino way of thinking and doing, you know, sometimes you don't want to stop.
Yeah.
Just leave it open.
Can I throw another question at this relative to, help me again with the wording, recommendor? I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. So if you take,
Rocamadour.
yeah, that's it.
Rocamadour.
So if you take a day trip, okay, if you want to do that plus the variant, how would you best piece that together? Would you start in Figeac and take the day trip up and then come back to Figeac and then start your walk again? Or do you pick up that type of a tour in another town?
Figeac to Rocamadour, there's a train. Bear in mind that the train station in Rocamadour is not exactly in Rocamadour. So it's a bit of a walk if you were thinking of walking it, but so probably the best thing to do is to take a taxi.
Okay. And then you just taxi back to where you started and pick up walking.
Back to Figeac and then carry on to Bedway, and then that's where you take off the onto the Sille variant, just outside of Figeac.
Okay.
One other thing I would say about the Sille variant, there's a fair amount of fairly steep climbing up and down on that variant.
Oh.
And so if the weather's good, that's great. But if the weather's bad, it'll be awfully slippery.
Yeah.
Okay. So I should bring my cane.
Well, or you should think about the weather. If it looks like it's going to be bad, maybe you don't do the variant. Maybe you just go,
okay.
You know.
Yeah. Okay. Stay loose.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way.
This is the thing, yeah. Don't try not to plan it too much, because the goddess of surprises, she's waiting for you around every corner.
I know. I don't want to, sometimes I don't even want to look at all the pictures that people post because I just kind of want to see it myself. Is that fair?
You will, don't worry. It's actually for us who want to remember.
Oh, there you go. Okay. I'll be one of those later.
Yeah, it won't spoil it for you.
Okay, good.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Robert?
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you guys very much. And it was
Thank you
nice
so much.
to see and,
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you all.